But you know who doesn't want to find answers to the UFO phenomenon?
Could it be
Hey,
Mr. Michael Herrera?
yeah, good. Ding, 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 ding. What do you know about this guy? Before
I
I'm
can
gonna give a little
oh,
brief on him.
yeah, give a little brief.
Okay.
It clearly a whistleblower involved in a particular incident,
Yeah.
and but something is off here. And so, I'm quick to give a whistleblower or an experiencer the absolute benefit of the doubt. And I am still there for Mr. Herrera. I am still right there. But something else is going on that is concerning. Now, I say that because as someone who represented highly traumatized people for 40 years in courtrooms, it can look like this. This is what a traumatized person can do. All of a sudden, the trauma is overwhelming and they will do things or say things that they shouldn't. They can be their own worst enemy. And so, we have to take that into consideration. I do think these big events are or can be quite traumatizing when they happen, and especially if you're coming to it from a military setting where you're really not free to talk about it openly like you might in a better setting, right? For a long time, but probably better now. I don't know the answer to that. But so something's going on with this guy. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm glad you prefaced it that way because I don't know much about Michael Herrera's story. I know the kind of the basics of it. I'm going to be honest, brushed it to the side because the first time I ever heard about him was at an event that Stephen Greer had put
Uh-huh.
on, and that can
He
be
is connected there.
problematic.
Right.
Yeah, that could be problematic from the get go. So,
But I can
I will,
also see, Ryan, how
yeah,
you would reach out if you were not well educated in this area about who is trustworthy and who may not be. You would reach out to whoever made you feel comfortable or who seemed to understand what you've been through.
that's
So
fair.
we've got to give him that as well. And now there are lots of highly recognizable, trustworthy sources. Maybe not when this was happening. So.
That's a very, very good point.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll give a little backstory here before we get to his video that he sent out to quote unquote proposed whistleblowers in the UFO
Yes.
world. Former U.S. Marine Michael Herrera claims he encountered a colossal 300-foot octagonal Vanta Black UFO hovering just above the jungle floor during a 2009 humanitarian mission in Indonesia after responding to a deadly earthquake. He describes being intercepted by an unmarked elite Black Ops unit wielding biometric scanners, not firearms, who confiscated their gear, forced them to sign NDAs under threat, and warned them not to speak about what they saw. Excuse me. Herrera alleges the event is part of a clandestine global program using so called P3 psionic assets to bait, retrieve, and reverse engineer UAPs, all funded by black budgets and tied to covert tech warfare between nation states. So this was the huge claim he made at the Stephen Greer event. It's heavy. I mean, this ain't your daddy's little Rendlesham thing. Like, he said there was like human trafficking going on at the time with this stuff, that these black ops were like involved with it, that this UFO was like had something to do with it. It was transporting these human trafficked people, like all this really dark shit. Um,
Very.
and look, if any of it is true, no wonder this guy was traumatized
And
by
I
what he
submit
was.
even if it wasn't true, but that's how it was perceived,
Right.
he's still traumatized,
Mhm.
and sometimes that trauma can be harder to unwind because there is so much unknown, and if you've misperceived it. So,
Mm.
it's dark, dark stuff. Dark It was a dark week. Yeah,
Yeah,
with this
for
story and
sure.
some others. Yeah.
Well, okay. So, the rumor is that we will be getting a congressional UAP hearing in September, I
Right.
believe is when it's been pushed to. But that it is definitely going to happen. and Burlinson and what's her name?
Anna
Luna.
Paulina Luna.
Yes. Have been saying, it's been a challenge to get these firsthand witnesses, but they're working on it. I hope we do see some of those if this is to come to fruition. It'll be interesting. However, Michael Herrera has some words for these people who might be coming forward. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video. And then, yeah, we'll close out on what you think about this warning, especially since you yourself are working with whistleblowers, Suzanne. So let's give this a watch and then let's unload. Sound good?
Right.
All
Ready.
right, let me find it. Here we go.
I've been trying to get in front of a U.S. congressional hearing for almost 2 years. So it's something as a firsthand witness that I feel like I'd have a good impact with that, especially with the unique position I've been afforded to as far as see things in a first-person perspective that 99% of the population probably would never get to see or participate. So having that said, I'm going to be very blunt. If we got people who are firsthand who are coming forward, I would ask you to reconsider. I'm going to ask you to reconsider based off of the notion that there have been other people who've held pretty, successful positions within certain agencies, companies that are in this issue that have given actionable intelligence that have ranged from where biologics are stored, where assets are located, where the names of these projects are occurring, and the details associated with that enough to actually gain basically a plan with knowledge and execute it. So the question I always have is, I like how they play dumb, like they don't have any information to go off of, and they want more firsthand people to go forward and to expose themselves. There are many firsthand people I know that have went forward, that have had the skiff meetings, that have provided the actionable intelligence, and they've been screwed royally. Their lives are ruined. Their income, their safety with their families. These guys make really good money. You cannot exercise your skill set elsewhere in this world like you can in some of these programs with some of the top minds and some of the top people that this country has as far as the best and brightest that this country has to offer. When they give that up, they're put in a position where they're trying to figure out how to make stuff work. All right? And they're good at improvising, adapting, overcoming, right? But the problem is you have a failed system. And the failed system is not supporting those people. I've seen this firsthand. And there's probably people who have came forward that can relate to that. We have to take action amongst ourselves for our own protection, for our own type of income, right? Which is, if you're working for yourself or your, partner, whatever it is, it's a little bit easier. But at the same time, some of these people don't have the luxury to do that. And even if you do make good money, you have some of these agencies that are weaponized, that go against people who are trying to do the right thing. And that's the biggest problem, is being punished for doing the right thing. It exposes yourself to the world of something that sounds crazy, but it's true. And then you're put in a position of trying to fend for yourself. Nobody else in the world understands what you're going through unless it's other people who are wearing the same shoes as you. But it's very rare. Because even though people come forward, everybody's experiences differ, obviously. So I want people to understand that I would reconsider if you're thinking of coming forward. And the reason being is because you're going to get shortchanged immensely. You're going to be put in a position where you're going to fend for yourself, or you're going to be into a network of other people who are similar, and it's the same thing. But at the end of the day, it makes you feel like, what the hell was it for? If we're not getting our freedoms from this, and helping the world and helping the people stuck on the other side, and there's a lot of good people stuck on the other side. I want people to understand that. So if I am called onto Capitol Hill to testify in a U.S. congressional hearing, I'm going to be blunt about it. I'm going to set reality straight for them to understand what they're up against and what needs to happen. And I'm sick and tired of people, good people, coming forward, trying to set the record straight, trying to provide evidence, trying to provide details that can allow something to happen, and these lawmakers are sitting on their hands. So we're having to take care of ourselves. And the best way you're going to take care of yourself is to maybe not come forward.
Okay.
Hard.
I feel for this guy. He seems very disenchanted by his having come out with this. If it's true, I see no, I don't see a deception with this guy. Do I believe his story? Not necessarily. However, I believe something happened, or like you said, it was some sort of psyop or staged event, or maybe it was a trafficking thing going on, and they I don't know, but
maybe it was more
or
than
maybe,
one thing, you know,
yes,
happening
totally.
just coincidentally. I don't know. I do, you know, so much of what he says, I find true.
Mhm.
They are traumatized if they don't move carefully. Think of Kevin Day. He
Yeah,
almost ended his own life. They ruined his life. Think of Bob Lazar. Love him, hate him, believe him, disbelieve him. He had his life ruined for a long period of time. So none of that to me is new. That is the known. And that is exactly why today, better than at any other time in history, it's important to reach out to the trusted sources like this group of lawyers I work with and work with someone who knows this system on the inside. Are there pitfalls or possible pitfalls? There are. Are there ways around those pitfalls? There are. And the right people know what to do about that and how to manage that. So I will say, in his defense, he did soften later in the week with a quick video that said something along the lines is that he would testify, that he didn't use the word scared. That's my word, that he was fearful about what was going on. And he obviously is in contact with someone who has had a very bad experience. So, and I don't take that away from it. There are bad experiences to be had. And I would throw this out there too. While some of our journalists like Ross Coulthart and Corbell and George Knapp are trusted individuals who also know this legal system, this military legal system and whistleblowing system, might it not be better to get true legal advice and legal protection instead of going to a journalist? And, you know, the journalist might steer you right, but it's not the same as having lawyered yourself up and with an extra layer of protection from a group of brains who know the pitfalls. So I think let's take his concern as warranted. We don't know all the details of what happened to him and what is true and what is not. But let's don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are safe ways to do this, and there are unsafe ways to do this.
yeah. Well, and you know, the UAP Disclosure Fund did comment on this as well through the auspices of your three organizations that are working together with
Chris
these
Mellon,
whistleblowers.
yeah,
Yep.
Chris Mellon took the lead, right?
I do have that here. Do you mind if I throw it up on
No,
the screen
good.
quick?
I'm glad you've got it.
Okay. So the UAP Disclosure Fund, through people like Chris Mellon and whatnot, said this on National Whistleblower Day. We're addressing a common concern. Many whistleblowers believe that sharing classified UAP info with Congress could result in criminal or civil liability. This fear is understandable, but it is not supported by the facts. Our new policy brief makes it clear. Congress is legally entitled to receive classified information in secure settings. No one appears to have been prosecuted or sued for doing so. Read our full brief co-authored by Kirk McConnell. And I did put that full brief in the show notes below, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, so you can go ahead and read that full thing. So yeah, kind of echoing what you said, Suzanne, that
Right.
there are legal, safe ways of doing this. Now, when it comes to someone like Michael Herrera, it seems to me that maybe he has not done so, that he did not seek legal advice before he went before the public at the Stephen Greer event. Or, like you had mentioned, someone like Matthew Brown, who came forward
Right.
with Immaculate Constellation with George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. That's a
Right.
problem. Whereas I do believe,
Yeah.
is that correct? I don't want to speak
Yes.
out of turn.
No, I think
Okay.
you're right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but then you have someone like Grush who did seek legal help.
Right.
Jake Barber too, maybe? I don't
I
know
don't
that.
know about Jake Barber. I suspect yes, because of the way that interview was handled with Ross, but I don't know that.
Okay.
And
But yeah,
just a reminder, this legal work is free. You aren't charged by these incredible lawyers to help protect you if you're a whistleblower. So it is interesting that they don't take up that offer very often. You know, some do, but some are just know they're going to go either the journalism route or they're going to stay silent, or but those are my 10 cents on that, is that there is a safe way to do it. Take the safe way.
I would say it's worth more than 10 cents for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's worth thousands and thousands probably.
No, you're doing the Lord's work when it comes to UFO whistleblowers. That's for sure. I've seen behind the scenes of some of it, and I've seen how the legal sausage is made, and
Yeah.
it's not pretty. Like,
It's
this is
not.
going to be very difficult. Like,
it's
no
hard.
one said disclosure would be easy. No one said coming forward and whistleblowing would be easy. Look at Grush. Look at
Right.
what happened with him.
What
Like,
happened to him? Yeah.
yep.
Still happening
So,
to him. Right.
yep. It's going to be. I've said from the very sort of beginning, when like all this congressional stuff started, like, if this is going to work, if we're going to go this route for some sort of official disclosure of information about UFOs coming out of the government through Congress, like, it is going to be messy. It's going to be weird. It's going to be at times exciting, at times super boring,
Frustrating.
frustrating.
Yeah.
But more than anything, it's going to have to do with the law.
It's exactly
Because at
right.
the end of the day, that's what Congress does, you know?
Right.
So I don't know.
And the lawyers in the background are out there noodling constantly on possible new ways to tackle this problem on various planes. It's just very complicated. And so if you know a whistleblower, they really need a legal opinion.
Yeah.
Especially if they're
Send them your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll send them
And they
your
don't
way.
get charged.
Right. Right. Which is a big thing.
It's a big thing, but it's the one thing this group has found that it can do, right? It's the one way it can help.
Right. And that's awesome. And like, Herrera even said, this coming forward can risk your reputation, can risk you literally your livelihood at times. So like, knowing that there's legal help out there pro bono, like, that's awesome.
Right.
And like, use it.
Use it.
Do it.